I don't know how you just think of that. But then again, I don't know. Some people are just creative like that. But then again, I think directors, when they be, especially horror movies, I don't know what the fuck these niggas be going through behind Insidious and all these, The Rings and all this shit. These niggas are on fucking crack cocaine or some shit, man. Gotta be. Fucking gotta be, man.
From a Marvel perspective, when I was on this stage in 2019, we introduced Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But what's fun to do here is to talk a little bit about the future. We are shooting right now our new series for Disney Plus, Echo.
Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash.
Filoni's movie will apparently close out the New Republic, tying up the stories told within the Disney Plus shows.
Blade, starring Mahershala Ali, comes out November 3rd, and we start filming this October.
A fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe.
Our series Ironheart.
And to move into Blue Beetle.
The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take us into a
started to
galaxy
map
of
out
shadowy
an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film.
This is literally how my head feels. Yes, fatigue. I'm dying.
The year is 2008, and superhero movies are pretty hit or miss. Last year, in 2007, the hugely popular Sam Raimi Spider-Man...
Now, a lot of y'all know, a lot of y'all may know, well, I know the people on the Game of Channel will know, I really, really love the black Spider-Man, the symbiote suit. So, I know that most people look at Spider-Man 3 as the worst Spider-Man. They look at the Spider-Man 3 as the worst Spider-Man in the trilogy, but I really, really, really love this movie.
Trilogy face planted at the finish line, with critics and audiences tearing it apart.
Find us some shade.
I don't care. I don't care.
Thanks, out nice.
But this didn't slow the demand for these movies from nerds everywhere. And these nerds had no idea what was about to happen, because the summer of 2008 was the summer of the superhero. Within 3 months of each other, audiences were treated to The Dark Knight and the very first Iron Man movie.
So good.
Now, obviously, The Dark Knight was incredible, but that's not what this video is about, so sorry, Christian Bale.
Sorry.
What the fuck is it with you?
I don't know. We're sorry.
What don't you fucking understand?
Sorry.
So Iron Man comes out and strikes this perfect balance between humor and serious storytelling. We got this really intimate story about a flawed man who slowly grows as a person throughout the movie. The focus of the film doesn't seem to be, hey, check out this live action version of your favorite comic book hero. It's focused on what any regular good movie does, telling a compelling story. The realistic CGI, pop culture references, and real world political inspiration of Tony Stark being a weapons manufacturer for the war in Afghanistan made it much more believable than comic adaptations of the past, like Catwoman.
Oh God, please don't show me this shit again.
Iron Man wasn't even a very well-known or well-liked character to the general public when the movie came out, so it was a hit more because of the film itself rather than it having a recognizable hero in it.
Which is
and
crazy.
After the movie's done, don't leave, because we have a little surprise for you after the credits roll.
Who the hell are you? Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
Okay. History was made in that moment. History was fucking made in that moment, man.
Hey, that's cool. The Avengers are like that superhero team, right? With Captain America, Hulk, and Spider-Man.
Don't say his name! Oh my God!
What?
Great. Real great. Sony owns them, and now we have to pay them money because you mentioned them.
Oh.
But don't worry. If you love Iron Man, we got a lot cooking here at Marvel Studios. You remember the Hulk from like 5 years ago?
I like this movie.
Oh yeah, people didn't really like that
Well,
one.
we gotta
It's crazy because I did like it. Mainly just because the Hulk, like the Hulk parts.
sequel to it now.
But this could be like kid shit. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I guess that when I was younger, there was still movies that I know I didn't like. But it was like when I was younger and I watched that, I don't know, it was just cool, bro, to see the Hulk like that.
Wait, was Hulk always played by Edward Norton?
It's not important. Just watch until the ending.
You know, I hate to say I told you so, General, but that super soldier program was put on ice for a reason. I've always felt that hardware was much more reliable.
Just 1 year after Iron Man,
And the Hulk.
sure, and the Hulk, Disney purchased Marvel Studios for $4 billion. This purchase kicked off one of the most lucrative powerhouses in entertainment of all time, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Listen, most of us know the history of the MCU, whether you like...
I know for sure I didn't like the first Thor movie. I thought that shit was boring as fuck.
the movies or not. Marvel movies have been unavoidable for the last 15 years. But if you're young enough where you don't exactly remember why it became such a massive success, Marvel was the first franchise where you don't exactly
look at her face. I just noticed her face.
remember why it became such a massive success, Marvel was the first franchise to start to interconnect their stories across multiple movies, similar to comic books.
At the time for us as 11-year-olds, this was super exciting. Not only would you routinely get a pretty quality comic book movie of a new hero every year, you'd get a little hint at the end of each movie on where the story was headed. Building up to 2012's Avengers,
which was
this
fire.
felt really new and fresh for a blockbuster franchise.
Yes. Oh my God, we working our way up to it. He is explaining everything because that's exactly how it was. We would see these things like, oh, yo, this is coming next. Wait, that means this is connected to this? Wait, they're actually in the same universe? This shit was exciting at the time.
They built this excitement with movies like Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America: The First Avenger. Movies that are in no way perfect, but are fun, character-driven stories that were nailing on-screen versions of these characters for the first time. Then finally, 2012's Avengers released and became one of the biggest blockbuster events in movie history. The end credits of the movie introduced a character that in this day and age is extremely recognizable, but we're talking pre-Fortnite days.
Yeah.
Stone Age.
Ruined. Absolutely ruined. This is what he's been reduced to.
But
I remember when I was in the theaters and I was like, huh?
Comic book readers in 2012, this guy was just some big purple weirdo, but we know him as Thanos.
Word spread from the nerds soon after that Thanos and the Infinity Stones was a concept from the comics that could potentially create an even bigger blockbuster than the Avengers movie.
That's another thing that these movies did, because it was like word of mouth from the freaking comic book nerds would make you go and look this shit up. You would go and research it.
And we could potentially be seeing years of storytelling leading up to it. And as 15-year-old nerds ourselves, we were yet again beyond excited for this. After that, Marvel had the general public in the palm of their hands, releasing some lesser movies like Thor: The Dark World and Avengers: Age of Ultron, but also
I like Age of Ultron.
Massive hits like Captain America: Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, Civil War, which introduced Spider-Man, Spider-Man: Homecoming,
I still remember that first trailer when Spider-Man was up. When Spider-Man came and he was like, under rules or whatever. That shit was huge, especially like amongst reactors, bro. Everybody posted that video within an hour of the trailer dropping.
Strange and Thor Ragnarok.
Over a span of 6 years, we watched these movies slowly fit together like puzzle pieces as we moved toward the massive 2-part finale, Infinity War and Endgame. Wait. We have to get paid real quick. Today's sponsor is Scentbird. Listen, you stink. I can service. I actually feel pretty just for you guys that I got to read. Dude, code UF birthday Canada. Now back to the video.
Canada.
So it's been 11 long years and you're finally at the end of the road. You followed these characters and this story through birthdays, graduations,
and it was a journey.
That one time at the Oscars that John Travolta called Idina Menzel Adele Dazeem, weddings, and it's been a wild ride. We here at Marvel.
It's so crazy because I think after Avengers, at Avengers, when it was the first Avengers, that's when me and Danielle, we was going to the movies, and I think we've seen almost all the Marvel movies in theaters opening weekend with a packed crowd, which is how you got to see those movies.
Studios want to thank you for coming. Now please keep your hands inside of the vehicle until the safety bar releases.
It feels locked.
Welcome to Phase 4.
Phase 4.
We're not done yet. Brand new on Disney Plus, we have TV shows of all your favorite Marvel heroes.
Not the same.
What the fuck? I thought we were done.
Don't miss WandaVision, Captain America, Moon Knight,
See, and this is when I was like still a little bit on the high. I was still a little bit on the high of the Marvel shit. And so I watched fucking, what was it called?
Heroes.
What the fuck? I thought we were done.
Don't miss WandaVision,
WandaVision. So I watched WandaVision. And I thought that shit was cool just because of how they did that. How they did that with the different episodes, which was like different eras of TV at the time.
Captain America, Moon Knight, Hawkeye, Loki, She-Hulk, and more on our...
And then Loki too. But after that, that's when I was like, it's too much happening.
streaming service. We booked out the year, so there's gonna be a new episode almost every single week.
So you're not doing movies now?
Nope, we actually have more of those than ever, and we're excited to see you in theaters in between episodes of our new shows. We consider ourselves pretty average consumers of stuff like Marvel, DC, and other major movie franchises.
Yeah.
Basically, if one of those blockbusters comes out and it's known to be pretty good and fun, we'll check it out. But we
Correct.
also would always prefer a non-franchise heavy movie that's great. And Phase
Correct.
4 of Marvel is the exact moment where average consumers like us wanted off of the ride.
Endgame ended a decade of storytelling and it was a massive moment. Then just before Phase 3 ended, we got Spider-Man Far From Home. Most people love Spider-Man, so yeah, okay, I'll go see that too.
But just because we want off the ride doesn't mean Marvel is gonna stop the roller coaster from moving. This is a multi-billion-dollar business with movies, TV shows, toys, clothing, video games, theme parks, and more.
Marvel isn't gonna stop making money because of our video. That's not how businesses work.
Makes sense.
Come in.
Hey, man, did you see the new Burback video?
No, what?
They said that they don't want to watch Marvel movies anymore.
What? Get Kevin. Get Kevin.
Call Kevin! There is simply too much money involved to care
Call
about these
Kevin!
projects as films. Comic book fans got mad at Martin Scorsese for calling movies theme park rides, and I am begging you, if you are mad at him, to watch more movies.
Exactly. Where's the fucking lie?
The filmmakers of substance need support.
Yeah.
And the problem is the amusement park films. It's very difficult for films of substance, or I don't want to use the word personal vision, but I have. It doesn't mean it's not entertaining, right? But these projects, where can they be shown? Where can they be shown if the theaters are taking
A guy
over?
named Chopek is the reason Phase 4 sucked so bad. They started a quality focus and limited the amount of projects, which gives me hope for the fatigue to end.
By the well-made, beautifully made, animated pictures, in a sense.
Listen, we like Marvel. There are absolutely good projects they've made that you can emotionally connect with, but Jesus Christ, up your movie catalog because there are better films out there waiting for you.
After making so many franchise hits, artistic integrity has to become an afterthought for a business this big.
Because like it's crazy to me that like these trailers drop for these movies, like the trailer we just watched for the Marvels. And look, I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but if a trailer like this drops and it's like a Marvel or it's a superhero and you're just like, yeah, like we were like before in the earlier stages when the train or the roller coaster was still going up leading to Endgame, I ain't gonna lie, you gotta watch some more movies. There's some other shit out there that to really be geeking about other than these fucking superheroes that you've been watching for the longest. I'm sorry.
It has made over 32 blockbusters. But after all of this is when Marvel started messing around with a new hot idea in Hollywood.
Multiverses.
Just let me say it.
Now, multiverses or crossover episodes aren't a new concept by a long shot. We've had crossovers from different worlds happen in media for a while. Aren't a new concept by a long shot. We've had
That's the lady that was helping me throughout Shattered Dimensions. Hey, you're welcome.
Crossovers from different worlds happen in media for a long time. Kingdom Hearts was a cross between the world of Final Fantasy and the world of Disney. Super Smash Bros. Did it with all the Nintendo characters.
Oh my god, this is another thing happening in movies too. Everything has to be connected. Well, obviously because Marvel, because of what Marvel's done, but it's just like we're starting to see it everywhere now though. Everything has to be mixed up, a collab or collaborative ever shit like that, but I'm not gonna lie. With gaming, I feel like it's different. Cause I ain't gonna lie, like who the fuck is complaining that Omni-Man is in Mortal Kombat? Like that Homelander is in, like what? I'm not gonna lie, that's totally different.
Marvel vs. Capcom, That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana, and the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, to name a few from our childhood.
Those were good though.
The Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, a truly revolutionary idea with one of the ugliest art styles I've ever seen on TV. The multiverse as an idea goes all the way back to the 1960s with The Flash of Two Worlds. In this comic, the Flash goes so fucking fast that he vibrates into a different universe. This is generally accepted as the first use of the multiverse, even though the actual term wasn't used until later. Since then, both Marvel and DC Comics regularly use multiverses throughout their stories and in big crossover events.
But in comics, it's not that crazy of a concept because they already do so many crossovers with other comics, different heroes, and even companies sometimes. But the Avengers 2012 set off a domino effect in movies, and especially Marvel, where
talk about it, bro. Please.
These giant blockbusters would be treated as episodes to a larger story rather than focusing on telling a contained story on its own.
They're mixing Transformers and G.I. Joe. You know what I learned recently? Is that 21 Jump Street, they were supposed to mix with the Men in Black. Like, it was supposed to be a collab thing.
Doesn't that make the individual movies worse?
Yes, but they make a lot of money.
But not all multiverse projects are soulless company decisions. Just a few years ago, we got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This movie was probably the first one to introduce the full idea of the multiverse to the mainstream. And to make matters worse, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, this movie not only revolutionized what kind of style a 3D animated movie could be, it was also a fantastically heartfelt, character-focused story that juggled many insane ideas. It all came together so well that it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Hour.
Okay. Hour.
Just say hour.
Hour.
That's a fire poster too.
Hey, new thought. Maybe it's not all about you. And this is also true about Everything Everywhere All at Once. That and Spider-Verse both use the concept of endless universes to do a deep dive on who the main character is and who they want to become. These are carefully crafted stories that people love to talk about on Letterboxd, but they are also stories where the concept of a multiverse is used to tell a character-focused story. Spider-Verse is a movie that includes infinite universes of every possible Spider-Man, but it's about Miles. Everything Everywhere All at Once isn't a story about everything, it's about a single family. Multiverses in their nature are an extremely messy concept for storytelling. This is why, if you're using it for anything but a character-focused story, let's say maybe for a concept of the next phase of your television and movie franchise, it's going to get messy as hell.
Marvel spent over 10 years slowly building a relationship with the viewer through character-focused stories. Toward the end, we started to lose that a bit, but the stories were molding into a larger narrative, so sure, we can understand that. But the finale, Endgame, included time travel and multiversal concepts that kind of destroyed the stakes of the MCU.
And that's fine if it had ended there, but to pick up the pieces after and give us Loki, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, No Way Home, and WandaVision, all stories that either briefly touch on the multiverse or are completely about the multiverse, but talk about the multiverse in completely different ways, leaves the viewer confused and disconnected. Now, we think that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was supposed to clean up these concepts for the average viewer and refocus the franchise in a way that a non-comic book TikTok fan could understand. But holy shit, man.
The villain of the movie is Scarlet Witch.
I'm not gonna lie, that's what I thought. I thought the Multiverse of Madness, I thought I was supposed to fix stuff. But it just got worse.
It just concluded her own
and this, holy shit. She's fucking insane, but that shit was fire though.
Side story on Disney Plus, but the writers of Multiverse of Madness didn't even get to see the show that led into their movie because the Marvel content machine hadn't spit out WandaVision yet. It was still in development.
It's a similar arc in Multiverse of Madness that it is in WandaVision. There could be parallel stories being told there of dealing with grief and loss. Well, I proposed that to the writers who wrote Multiverse. I said, do you know what we're doing in WandaVision? Have you seen it? And no, they had not seen it because it wasn't finished yet.
So Marvel is now in a place where their production is moving too fast to connect their projects in a cohesive way. And they're
so it's not even, they're like forcing connections. Then
also juggling the most complicated and messy concepts with the multiverse on top of having more characters, TV shows, and movies than ever before. So as the average person, how could we possibly care?
If we're already sacrificing individual movies being complete pieces just so we can watch a giant interconnected narrative, then the story...
It's like, bro, it's like the superheroes, like the star, it's like the star, that star syndrome thing where they start to get everywhere and we just get tired of it. It's like that at one point when Kevin Hart was so big from his comedies and then now he was just in every movie and people were just like, oh my God, like like, please stop this.
At least needs to be easy to understand and not a massive commitment to follow.
And after all of this, Thor Ragnarok was the project that Christian Bale chose to join the MCU in? Sorry, Christian Bale, but we saw this movie and we did not like it.
Sorry.
I didn't see it.
Good for you. And how was it?
It was bad.
No, shut the fuck up.
Now, the multiverse is getting a little crowded, but potentially one of the biggest franchises of all time managed to avoid this and stay in one timeline. One that takes place in a galaxy far, far away.
Shrek.
No, I meant Star Wars. For decades, Star Wars was a simple and clean franchise for the general public. Yes, they had an extended universe, but that's for nerds and we don't care.
Nice. What, you're gonna make me read about Star Wars? It's a movie!
Boo.
From 1977
It's a movie,
to 2000,
come on.
There were a total
That's what I'm saying.
of 6 Star Wars movies and 1 animated TV show. And
Where's Mike at? He's the Star Wars nerd.
as somebody who's not a Star Wars fanatic but enjoys it frequently, this is an extremely easy commitment to see them live in theaters and rewatch them every few years.
Today, there are 11 movies with 4 more on the way. There are also 10 Star Wars TV shows.
On the
there
way?
are 11 movies with 4 more on the way. There are also 10 Star Wars TV shows with 24 seasons.
Now, of course, this is partially due to time passing and fans wanting more content. To be honest, getting another trilogy of movies, getting 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and allowing Dave Filoni to make the Clone Wars for big fans of the franchise was just fine. Because when the sequels came out, you only had to do a 6-movie marathon, but mostly the original 3 to catch up.
But let's say you hadn't watched any Star Wars, but you watched The Mandalorian because somebody recommended it, and also Baby Yoda is cute as hell.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian had the ability to be an in-universe show that didn't require other materials at all to enjoy.
That's why I really liked
they
it.
completely destroyed that. For example, if you were watching season 2, they dedicated an episode to introducing Ahsoka. Ahsoka was one of the main characters of the animated show The Clone Wars that took place between 2 of the prequel movies. She has a bunch of backstory that's covered throughout the show, and
I'm not gonna lie. That's why I stopped. I'm not gonna lie. This is when I stopped watching. That's why I kind of had to stop watching. It was just like, bro, it's like, yo, I thought we were like doing our own thing, but no, now she has like a whole backstory, and it's like, yo, to really get deeper into it, then you would have to watch this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, bro, what are we doing? Like, yo, fire actress. Like, she's perfect for the role, but I'm like, yo, watch the Clone Wars, bro. Mike, you've been saying that for the longest. Clone Wars is like, oh my God, a bajillion episodes long. That's like saying, yo, just watch One Piece.
even showed up in another animated show, Rebels. But The Mandalorian was the first time she was shown in live action.
Aren't you glad that Ahsoka's live action now, though?
I mean, I didn't really watch the Clone Wars, so I don't really know who that is.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's say you did. And let's say that you're happy to see Ahsoka finally in live action.
Then thank you.
For
bringing Ahsoka back.
Ahsoka. Ahsoka with an A. Ah.
Thank you for bringing Ahsoka back.
You're welcome.
Like we said before, we're pretty average consumers when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
But we've also watched and played a ton of Star Wars content.
We've rewatched the movies, played the Lego games growing up, watched the Clone Wars, some of Rebels, played Battlefront 2.
It's like, bro, they got all this shit for stuff that it's like, I'm just like an avid, watcher for. Now do some shit for like God of War or Harry Potter, bro. Then now you're catering to me, okay? All this episodes, little TV shows, okay? Extra movies about random characters, bro. Shit, you got me. You got all my money. But it's like, bro, I fucks with Star Wars, but that wasn't the one that I grew up with.
A ton, and up until recently kept up with The Mandalorian. And at this point, we are so tired with Star Wars. Holy shit.
Jesus, yeah.
It's just too much.
It's way too much. Other than Andor, which was fantastic, I just can't be bothered to be excited by Star Wars alone anymore.
We love Dave Filoni, but after the experience with Marvel, we just can't commit to another Disney Plus story that requires seasons of television and movies just to keep up with what's going on.
I can't do it.
The Mandalorian is a perfect example for why these universes are actually pretty bad for human storytelling and art. Jon Favreau, one of the creators of Mandalorian and also the person who birthed the MCU with Iron Man in 2008, said himself that The Mandalorian doesn't have an ending planned. He said it's not like there's a finale we're building to, because at the end of the day, this is not about storytelling. It is about business. And I know that's not a surprise to most of you, but to some people, it is. A good story.
Well, he just came out and said that? I mean, duh. Like, at the end of the day, it's about getting the bag, but goddamn, bro, you couldn't even pretend a little bit?
Story is planned out. A good story has meaning to it, and to drive that meaning home, the story needs an end.
That's why I feel like the best shows, bro, got the shortest fucking seasons. Like, the shows that you wish would keep going for 9, 10 seasons stop at 5. And I'm like, fuck, bro.
Look at Game of Thrones, for example. A show that was beloved by so many people and now cannot even be rewatched by those people because the ending was so bad, they felt like the rest of the story was totally meaningless.
That's why it's just like, I don't even complain, bro. Breaking Bad, Snowfall, Ozark, all ended too soon.
ImDontai, since you're playing PS3 games, you should play the old Harry Potter games. You'd enjoy them more than Hogwarts.
Now, you know I've already played those games. Come on, man. I've already played those games, man.
And I think what's so frustrating is some of these comic book movies can be art. Across the Spider-Verse just came out and was fantastic and is an achievement in art in so many different ways. But obviously we know these companies are not gonna stop making the money that they make. I mean, for the love of God, we didn't even get to touch on the DCEU and
Just
the
don't.
Flash because
It's okay.
Tony, I think we just don't want to, right?
Yeah, they're just boring to talk about.
So for the love of God, at least slow down a little bit. Take your time. Make it less of a commitment for the rest of us. Give CGI artists a little bit of time to work on these movies to make them look better. Give your writers more time to...
That's another thing, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Tom Cruise, bro. Like, watching his movies and then, like, watching movies like Mad Max. It's just like... And there was a video I watched on this, too. They compared how each movie of Indiana Jones has gotten worse, and each movie of Mission Impossible has gotten better. And then they compared like both of the new films that came out, and oh my god, it's so bad how that new Indiana Jones movie is. It's like nothing but CGI, and everything just looks nothing looks real. So it's like that in movies, when things are more practical, I feel like a lot of movies are missing that, bro. Even with like Jurassic Park, like you can still watch the old Jurassic Park and that shit still like holds up, bro. Even Oppenheimer, I think, is like a lot of practical shit.
To make a story that's cohesive and maybe at least try to have an individual message and personal touch to each movie, because we are all so tired.
Can't really do much with an 8-year-old actor. Yeah. So what does that mean? That means you just don't make the movie, bro. Like you shouldn't make the movie. Like, and of course it's bombing right now. Like nobody was asking or begging for that movie to come out, and they doing it. Why? For the money. The money.
So at this point for us, it's just too exhausting, and it'll be pretty hard to get us to go to the theater. And
like the same thing you just said. There's not really much you could do at 60. Like that should have came up on the drawing board. Yo, we should make another Indiana Jones. But dude, he's like 80s, like, or some shit like that. Like, what? Really? Should we really? Why not?
Product saturation
Why not?
Without purposeful direction. They've turned them into commodities instead of something special.
Yeah.
It's like, when was the last time you cared about the brand of pencil you use versus something of actual value to you? It's night and day.
Wait. Indiana Jones 5 had a $300 million budget. Why the fuck would you do that?
And actually see a Marvel movie. Even if you add a talented A-list actor like Christian Bale, I'm probably just gonna watch the movie on a flight. So sorry, Christian Bale.
Sorry, Christian.
Fucking kick your fucking ass. You don't shut up.
Oh, and thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video.
This was a good video, and oh my god, it's like literally what I was talking about. Holy shit, man. Damn, bro. That was so good, because this was the other video I was talking about. This one's kind of longer though. But we'll probably make this the last thing we check out. And this is about the remakes. This is about the remakes and stuff like that. We probably won't watch the full thing. I'm gonna just like talk about the little bit that I was talking about.
Okay.
Let's talk. So last month, we found out in the most random announcement of all time that the Harry Potter saga is being rebooted on HBO Max. This time in the form of a 10-season TV series that will cover all 7 books.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, that's fucking ridiculous. But I'm also not gonna lie, I'm watching that shit. I'm watching every single episode, every single season, just because, like, they did this shit. It's like these companies are doing shit to cater to the few people, and I'm one of the few. I just got lucky, bruh.
Something that everybody asked for, I'm sure. The film series ended in 2011, which wasn't that long ago, and that's not all, because just a few days after that announcement, it was officially announced that Lionsgate is also in the process of rebooting the Twilight Saga into a TV show.
See, I didn't know about this. I have no idea about this shit.
As well. That coming just 11 years after the end of the movie franchise. What the fuck? Look, it's no secret that Hollywood is currently in a state of franchise monarchy. I think everyone has been hyper conscious of that, especially in the last couple of years. Every studio in Hollywood is trying to desperately secure themselves some billion-dollar franchise to rival with the likes of Disney, and it's difficult not to notice the try-hard aspect of it.
And it's so bad when movies, the first movie, they set up like a sequel at the end. It's like, bro, just focus on your, like, this sole movie before you try to, like, get ahead of yourself thinking you got this big ass franchise ahead of you.
Are constantly being exposed to. It feels like every week I've come across some complaints about Hollywood's relentless pushing of reboots, sequels, remakes, and adaptations. We're constantly exposed to the never-ending and exhausting conversation about superhero fatigue and the frustration over the revival of old franchises. Evil Dead just had a reboot come out in theaters a few weeks ago. Indiana Jones has a 5th movie coming out this year, 41 years after the first movie.
Damn.
Bad Boys 4 is reportedly
Bad Boys 4.
In the works. Beetlejuice 2, we're getting a Spy Kids reboot.
This shit that pisses me off. That fucking pisses me off. Spy Kids is a childhood favorite of mine. Spy Kids is a childhood favorite of mine, and I swear I was oh, you should have seen me when I seen that bitch Jessica Alba or whatever, who the fuck it was. Who was it on that 4th movie? Who the fuck? I don't even know what the hell that shit was. That shit pissed me off all the way. Not my Spy Kids. And bro, Martin Lawrence was already kind of big in the 3rd one. How's he gonna look in the 4th one?
Reportedly in the works. Beetlejuice 2, we're getting a Spy Kids reboot. There's apparently an Exorcist sequel coming out this.
They remaking Harry Potter? Man, if they fuck up Harry Potter. Oh my fucking god, it's going to be a gay, trans, non-binary, black, albino, queer, indigenous, disabled, furry Harry Potter. I swear to God, bro, I'm fighting.
Oh my god. I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm gonna check out the first episode though, and if it's bad, oh my god, trust me, I'm gonna be the first person to talk about it. I don't care what people say about me. I'm gonna call shit out like it is, like I've done with every single other movie, but it's gonna be way more personal because Harry Potter means a lot to me.
It's Halloween. We had Halloween last Halloween, and even with TV.
Yo, this is why good movies feel so good now. It's like a cold drink in a desert.
Yes.
Like people talking about how the Prowler's theme music is Miles' theme in reverse, because they're swapped. It's so refreshing to see a little bit of thought out into movies.
Yes, bro. Like little things. A reason to, like a thing to get you to watch the movie again.
South Park episode about Indiana Jones is exactly how I feel about some of these reboots, lol.
It's like little shit to make you watch the movie again. Because one, I didn't know that was the theme remix. Also, there was like a thought, like, I guess he had a thought or a decision. He was about to make a decision. It was showing the colors next to him. Y'all know what I was talking about? I think it was like in the Eric Voss video where it was like the Prowler choice and then his choice or something like that. And that was set up from the first movie. It's just like little shit like that make you want to go back and watch it.
Hollywood tries to capitalize on iconic names all the time now. We just got that 90s show on Netflix.
Oh, fuck you with that stupid shit. I remember when I seen this trailer, we reacted to this shit. I want to break break my monitor, but that would be stupid. What the fuck?
How I Met Your Father on Hulu. Zoe 101 is apparently getting a reboot.
How?
They gonna have Harry sucking off from.
You realize how this shit don't make sense to me, bruh?
Starsky and Hutch, the 1975 buddy cop show is.
Leave them niggas alone. Wait, didn't we have a remake for or like a movie come out with the guy Owen Wilson, right? That's his name, right? Owen Wilson. It was him and someone else, right?
It's getting a reboot. RoboCop is getting a reboot. Legally.
Zoe 101 is just a movie. Okay. Is it with the same actors? A movie? What the fuck are they doing in the movie? Hold on. Oh, the trailer is out.
Yeah, DCA, baby.
A month ago. Oh my god.
DCA, baby.
Zoe 102?
Zoe. Well, what's your last name again?
Brooks. Did I tell you that I got proposed to the other night on a second date? I mean, it's like the
Oh my god.
second we turn 30, everybody just becomes obsessed with, will you be my maid of honor? Shut up. We didn't know we were getting married.
I don't know what I'd do without my best friend there. Chase is gonna be there. It's gonna be fine. It'll be the
He still looks the
reunion we all
same.
need.
I need another drink.
I just hope she shows up.
She aged a lot. I ain't gonna lie. She been stressing.
I think she's still stuck on her ex, Chase, from high school. It's sad. And I don't think she's had a relationship since. Zoe?
Her maid of honor has arrived.
She still sounds the same though.
I need someone to play my boyfriend at my best friend's wedding.
Damn.
Hi, I'm Hugo
iCarly
Hemsworth.
basically got a reboot and I'm surprised it's actually good.
Yeah, I mean, reboot, it's kind of like a, well, I guess it would be considered, I don't know what it's called. There's so many things happening, but iCarly seems like a continuation. It seems like it's just a continuation years later.
Zoe's boy. Oh boy! Wow, that's a strong grip and jawline.
Which is kind of what this is.
Down to Quinn Logan.
Who wants the mice?
You may be seated.
I'm not gonna lie, stuff like this, it's random, but I feel like this is different than reboots. Cause imagine it was a new Zoe 101, but a whole bunch of new like actors. I feel like this is different. Like if you really watched that show when you were younger, you would be like, oh, what? Cause I'm not gonna lie, when we used to be friends. Veronica Mars, they had a movie. I used to watch that show all the time, and then they randomly had a movie come out, and it was in theaters, and I went to see it just because like I used to watch the show. But if I remember correctly, that movie was not it. That shit was kind of bad. I don't even remember. I don't even remember it, but I seen it just because it's like, you know, it's just memories. It's just this same. I feel like this is what this is. So I would understand why they would make this. Oh shit, homeboy.
Let's go, Chase!
When did life get so messy? I would kill to go back to PCA.
I'm sure we all love to go back.
I just think about all the things I dreamed about in high school, and now I'm here, and it's like, is this it? Is this the dream?
It's really gross how often you talk about high school.
Gay, what the fuck? Yo, let me know. Do they end up together or not? I just need to know.
You all went to high school together?
Yeah, DCA, baby.
Wait.
Together?
This is the guy that always had his arms out? Like he never had sleeves on? That's him? What the fuck? Holy shit.
DCA, baby.
I didn't even know that was him until like the way he said that. It seemed like he was saying it in like an asshole way. That's how he usually is. PCA, baby. It's like, yo, what the, wait, hold on. I recognize that asshole. Wow, that was random. Another Legally Blonde?
Blonde is getting a reboot. RoboCop is getting a reboot. Legally Blonde, Fuller House is a thing that existed not too long ago. And in what I think is the dumbest...
No. Tell me you're just showing this movie clip for something else. Like, tell me you're just showing this movie clip just to talk about something else.
Most corporately bankrupt move in recent Hollywood history. We are getting an American...
It's over.
TV adaptation of Parasite.
Yeah, it's over.
Oh, for the love of God. And it feels tiring, right? After a certain point, it all feels very empty. Especially because a lot of these revivals or adaptations of beloved franchises don't really work out. Anybody remembers that 2017 Power Rangers reboot that was...
Oh my gosh. Anybody go see this? Me and Dale saw it. Me and Dale, like... That was the time when we were like, for dates, we just go to the movies. So we were just seeing whatever. And we saw this. Not worth the price of admission.
Was supposed to become the next big thing. I don't know if you knew, but this was meant to be the first of 7 announced movies.
See, niggas start with one movie and then think like, okay, so let's make sure we like end this very vague. Because this one's gonna be the next big thing. Who are they? Like, who? You can't go in like that. You just gotta make a good first movie or just a good movie. Just make a good movie with a good ending. Everything wraps up, and then if it's really successful and people demand more, that's when you kind of figure something out. I feel like that's what a lot of earlier movies did. They went in with the intention of just making one movie, and then that shit performed so well they were like, I mean, fuck it, right?
And that idea was canceled real quick because the movie tanked real hard. And on TV, it's even worse. Fate the Winx saga was canceled 2 seasons in.
Who?
We just talked about the Gossip Girl reboot being dumb as shit. A bunch of reboots of iconic movies and shows from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s are being canceled left and right.
Good.
There was a 24 sequel series that disappeared real fast. The True Lies TV adaptation just got canceled. Like, it's been an absolute mess, and you know there's only more of it coming. So, with this complete insanity, and while I finish working on a certain video about a certain show with vampires that everyone has been harassing me about, I decided to make a list about a bunch of franchises that Hollywood just refuses to let die. Those franchises that we've known forever, and it seems like no matter how badly they're failing, we just can't escape them coming back every few years. And yes, I could go on and on about Star Wars or the MCU, but that's too easy. I want to talk about other franchises that have been bugging me for a while now. I picked 9 of them, and we're gonna break them down right now.
Shit.
So, here you have 9 franchises that Hollywood just won't let die. Starting with number 9, Men in Black. This feels like the perfect start to the list. The first 2 Men in Black movies were massive hits that undeniably solidified their place in pop culture through the years.
Yeah.
The odd pairing that were Will Smith.
I'm not gonna lie, it's crazy how far Men in Black got. Like, what the fuck was Thor doing? Like, how did Thor end up being the Men in Black? I don't know what was going on with this.
And Tommy Lee Jones worked really well against all odds, and it genuinely created a franchise that was unlike anything we had seen before. It was weird and funny and wacky, and it just clicked right with audiences. But then, in 2012, we got Men in Black 3, and it became quite obvious that Sony and Columbia were kind of pushing their luck, despite being...
Saw this in theaters, and you like this one? I wanted to like it, but Danielle fell asleep, and I ain't gonna lie, I fell asleep. And it's rare that I fall asleep in movies. It's very rare that I fall asleep in movies.
Successful at the box office, there was a general consensus amongst fans and critics that
I don't know what it was, bro. I thought the beginning was cool when he was meeting his old partner when he was younger, but I don't know, bro. I just fell asleep.
The movie was an absolute disappointment, far from the quality of the first 2 films. I personally remember seeing this one in theaters and being bored out of my mind the whole time.
Okay? I don't even know who you are.
Anyways, long story short, it was very clear that by 2012, the franchise was a bit outdated and would probably be better off being left as a thing of the past. But Sony, a studio that is constantly
Oh my god, I just realized that was him.
desperate to establish massive franchises, was not ready to let that one go. They were determined to find a way to revitalize the franchise, and the ideas they came up with were kind of insane. I don't know if you know this, but just a few years ago, Sony was planning on making a Men in Black sequel that would also be a crossover movie with 21 Jump Street.
See, I heard about this in another video. And that's crazy that that was even a thing.
The fuck? I know it sounds like I just made that up, but I swear to you, that's the truth. It's a very well documented project, you can look it up. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill were both slated to come back in their roles for the movie. It was going to be directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the directors of the 2 Jump Street films, as well as the writers of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and there actually was a lot of buzz in Hollywood about this movie. A lot of people had their eyes on it.
Why?
However, the project got stuck in development hell and completely fell apart after years of back and forth, after which Sony Pictures opted to shift the franchise's direction altogether, abandoning the crossover idea for a straight reboot. See, they believed the quickest and most effective way to reinvigorate the franchise was to take the exact same concept as the original movie and then replace Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones with 2 actors who are currently very popular with audiences. And so, a couple years later, in 2019, we got Men in Black International, a brand new take on the franchise featuring a new set of MIB agents, this time played by Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson.
This was actually, seen this in theaters too. So bad. This is that was probably the worst movie I've seen in that year.
Who were both just coming out of the very popular Thor Ragnarok. Men in Black International was meant to be the starting point of a new Men in Black trilogy, except the movie sucked ass and it kind of bombed at the box office, causing future plans to be halted by Sony in their development stage, and any sequel they were envisioning was immediately cancelled. The movie came out 4 years ago, and as of right now, there are no plans for new Men in Black movies moving forward, but it is only a matter of time before a new reboot arises. It's been kind of a mess behind the scenes. In 2021, a new Men in Black 5 was reportedly in development. Will Smith was set to return, but then that project died. Then in 2022, it was reportedly a Men in Black TV series that was in development.
Nah, remember the Men in Black TV show? It was like the cartoon show.
But that also seems to have gone away. And you know what? Good. Let it die.
Yeah.
Men in Black was a product of its time. Its camp and its absurdity were clearly made for the 90s and
the cartoon was fire.
2000s. I don't know if that concept works when you try to, quote, modernize it. It's like trying to use more CGI to revitalize Jurassic Park. And speaking of which, number 8, Jurassic Park. Okay, look, I'll admit, I might be a bit biased with this one because I personally do not like any of the Jurassic movies past the first one.
See, I like the second one, and I like the third one. I'm not gonna lie. I like the second one and the third one.
Original Jurassic Park is a fucking classic and one hell of an impressive feat for cinema, and I love it very dearly. I guess the first Jurassic World is okay. I've only ever seen it once when it came out in 2015, and I remember thinking it was fine. But overall, I strongly believe that the first Jurassic Park is the only genuinely great movie in the franchise.
It's the best one.
I personally think the sequels should have never been made. Jurassic Park 2 and 3 are quite forgettable in my opinion, even if 2 has its moments. I cannot stand.
See, because I love, bro, that the part where the T-Rex is going down the city and shit like that shit was fire to me.
And Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I think it's one of the worst major blockbusters to come out in the last 10 years. And I can't even comment on Jurassic World Dominion because I never finished it. I tapped out halfway through the movie because I was just that bored.
Damn.
These movies should not exist. I mean, hell, I'm not crazy because Colin Trevorrow, the guy who directed all 3 of the Jurassic World movies, admitted last year in an interview that he thinks Jurassic Park should have never had any sequels. I'm not making that shit up. He thinks his own movies should not exist. Now that the Jurassic World trilogy is over, I'm sure that the studio is trying to figure out how to move forward with this franchise. I think there's an actor from Dominion who kind of hinted at that, but I don't know.
Now that clone shit, that's when I was just like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing in these movies anymore. The fact that she's a clone, huh? I was like, bro, what? This is not even like about dinosaurs no more.
How that's gonna work out for them? Jurassic Park was super impressive because at the time we had never really seen dinosaurs like that on screen. You had maybe like 1 or 2 Godzilla movies and that was it. Like that shit back then was fucking impressive, but like now? Look at what we have. There's the Meg 2 coming out and the trailer starts with a CG dinosaur. Like it's not impressive anymore.
Damn.
It's not the same. We get huge, massive monsters on screen all the time, always, constantly. It's not gonna hit the same. Anyways, I don't have much more to say about this, so I'll close it with this clip of Amanda the Jedi just speaking straight facts about why Jurassic Park should never be remade. What's a movie that should never be remade?
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That one benefits so much from the time and the combination of like CG and animatronics that any attempt to remake it will look terrible, will fail miserably. You don't need to do it. Just leave it the fuck alone. I think most movies don't need to be remade, if I'm being completely honest. If it's a good movie, leave it alone. People need to get more in the mindset of remaking movies that had good concepts but were executed terribly.
Yeah, I agree with
like,
that.
stop taking good things and remaking them. It's dumb.
And there you go. Took the words right out of my mouth. Number 7. Charlie's Angels. I know this seems weirdly out of place when talking about big Hollywood franchises, but hear me out. I don't think most...
You know what's crazy? The Charlie's Angels, the one that... Because Charlie's Angels, the one that came out with Cameron Diaz and... Fuck, I forgot the other 2 names. Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu. Did I just get it right? Oh my God. So fucking goated. Those movies are remakes off of the show, right? Or the show or the original movie or whatever. But I really like those. So I'm wondering, I think he's going to be talking about the last trash remake that we got. That shit was ass. That shit was ass.
Most people realize the insane obsession Hollywood has with Charlie's
These were good,
Angels.
bro. These
it's
movies
like
were
a
good.
relentless, one-sided simp love story that's been persevering for almost 50 years.
Oh my God.
Simp love story that's been persevering for almost...
Chat, that's the Forspoken girl. That's the fucking Forspoken girl.
50 years. But okay, let me go back. For the quick backstory, Charlie's Angels is a franchise that was kickstarted with an insanely popular TV show that aired on ABC for 5 seasons from 1976 to 1981. The original Angels were played by Jacqueline Smith, Kate Jackson, and the most popular sex symbol of the 70s, Farrah Fawcett. The show was an instant success that took the world by storm, mainly because the whole idea of the show was to sexualize women in what were typical male-centric action movie tropes, and ABC had a genuine hit on their hands. It was a real pop culture moment. Farrah Fawcett famously left the show after only 1 season, which resulted in a highly publicized lawsuit against her because she was sued by ABC as a result. But throughout the 5 seasons, a number of women played the roles of the Angels as previous ones left. It became kind of a tradition that would see a new entry in every season. Quickly after that, though, sensing the obsession over the show growing, ABC attempted to kickstart a spin-off of the show called Tony's Boys in 1980. The spin-off revolved around a wealthy woman named Antonia, or Tony, who runs a private detective agency where 3 top-tier agents, Tony's Boys, solve crimes.
Did they completely miss the mark? So they got a show that a lot of dudes would probably be watching because the girls look good. And then they completely, like, get dudes?
and go on various missions. And if that sounds familiar, it's because it's literally the exact same premise as Charlie's Angels, but gender swapped. The only idea behind this show was to sexualize handsome men in the exact same premise, hoping that it would recreate the success of the original series. But after a backdoor pilot was integrated in season 4 of Charlie's Angels, ABC changed their minds and decided not to pick up the spin-off, and so the Tony's Boys project died shortly after, and Charlie's Angels ended its run just a year after that.
Makes sense.
Okay, now you have the backstory, let's get to the stupid shit. While it started as a popular TV series back in 1976, Hollywood only realized the true potential behind the franchise in the year 2000, when it was successfully rebooted into an over-the-top action flick starring Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, and Cameron Diaz. It is the most 2000s thing I have ever seen. It's so camp and out there, but I loved it as a kid. It is just dumb fun. Unfortunately, though, that potential was very short-lived. Charlie's Angels 2000s was successful, but after a failed sequel in 2003 that crashed and burned at the box office,
which I like the sequel too. I like the sequel as well.
The studio quickly canceled the third and fourth movies that were in the works. The franchise went dead, and Hollywood has miserably been trying to revive it for the last 20 years. At first, there was a proposed Charlie's Angels animated film that I believe got stuck and died in development hell around 2007, after which ABC took the big step and decided to reboot Charlie's Angels in the form of a new TV series in 2009. 30 years after the end of the original show.
Really?
They made this reboot a big deal. They were super serious about it. They even brought in Miles Miller and Alfred Goh to be the showrunners of the new series. Now, I realize these names probably don't mean anything to you, but these guys are the real deal. They were the creators and producers of Smallville. They wrote the story of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, which is still considered to be one of the greatest comic book movies of all time.
Pizza time.
They wrote Shanghai Nights, and more recently, they teamed up with Tim Burton to create Wednesday. Yeah, needless to say,
oh my God,
these guys know what they're doing. Miller and Goh developed the shit out of this reboot. They even cast Minka Kelly in one of the lead roles, and after a long 2 years of build-up, the Charlie's Angels reboot series finally arrived on the very symbolic September 22nd, 2011, date of the 35th anniversary of the original series. And it flopped immediately. If you don't know, Charlie's Angels 2011 is notorious in Hollywood for being one of the greatest failures in television history.
My God.
Most people have forgotten about it now, like to the point where most people don't even know this show existed. But those who know about it have heard about it for a reason. The show crashed and burned so hard and so fast that it was canceled by ABC after only 4 episodes due to historically bad ratings. They never even got to finish shooting the first season, which was supposed to only be 13 episodes long. And ABC only agreed to air 7 of the 8 finished episodes before swiping Charlie's Angels 2011 under the rug, effectively making it one of the worst performing television shows in history.
You gotta think about it from the standpoint of like the people who wrote the script, the people who worked on the effects. Oh my gosh. Found locations to shoot at, and you couldn't even finish the show?
Things got really silent afterwards, and for a while, it looked like the Charlie's Angels universe was finally put to rest. But Hollywood wasn't done.
This is the
refusing
disaster.
to accept the fact that audiences have not been interested in this franchise since 2000. Sony Pictures tripled down on their desperate efforts and delivered the historic box office failure that was 2019's Charlie's Angels, a dull and uninspired reboot/sequel of the original series, directed by Elizabeth Banks and starring Kristen Stewart. The movie very famously bombed with critics and audiences, grossing only $8 million in its opening weekend against an estimated production and marketing budget of $97 million. That's...
Wait, that's so... Oh my God. 8 million, 90 million. You know, wait, you know how fucking bad that is? You know how many movies you gotta release to fix this, the red that you're in?
Just a disaster, and prompting the inevitable and immediate cancellation of its planned sequels. This thing came and went so fast that I still have trouble believing it actually happened.
That's terrible. That's a motherfucking dragon. Yo, I can't believe that's the girlfriend. How are you in two things that flopped? You're in this movie that flopped, and then you're in a game that flopped. Holy shit.
Well, let's hope that this time the message was clear. Charlie's Angels as a franchise is like this stubborn tantrum for all...
Someone said maybe it's her. Yo, hell nah, bruh. Twilight's the lead role, bro. Can't blame homegirl.
The old folks that run Hollywood who desperately want another version of that show they liked in the 70s, but it's not gonna work. Just like Men in Black, Charlie's Angels is a product of its time. You can't recapture the very specific vibe and tone of these shows from the 70s and 80s. You're never gonna get that. I mean, Star Wars has been trying for 46 years. Because the reason why it feels the way it feels is because it exists in your memory. Stop trying to replicate it. It's never gonna work. Charlie's Angels is a product of its time. Let it die. Number 6, James Bond. Okay, I might get crucified for this, but am I the only one who's really over James Bond? I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't hate James Bond. I do enjoy some of the movies in the franchise, but I'm just...
Chat, how y'all feeling? Are y'all over James Bond? Do you care anymore? Are you done with the movies? I'm not gonna lie, like, I was interested in the idea of the Idris Elba James Bond. But to be honest, I'm more of a Mission Impossible guy. I'm more of a Bourne Ultimatum Mission Impossible dude.
Just kind of over it. I don't know, it just doesn't feel like what it used to be. And I can't even blame it for it. James Bond has been around for a while now. The character was created in 1953, I think, in a series of novels created by British author Ian Fleming, and he was brought to the screen for his first adaptation just 9 years later in 1962. It was an immediate success, and the franchise became a staple of British cinema, one that took over the world very quickly. At the time of making this video, Bond has now been played by 7 different actors across 27 films. Bond has now been played by 7 different actors across
That's my James Bond.
27 films. The rest, as they say, is history. I mean, I don't like that saying, but it is true. In 2023, there...
Pierce Brosnan. That's my Bond. Damn.
Has been a grand total of 25 Bond films in the main series, the 2 remaining ones being technically unofficial entries in the franchise. But we are far from the glory days of the Bond saga, where each movie would be a banger after banger that made people go crazy. Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger were the last movies in the series that came out in a row and were all universally and critically acclaimed bangers, one after the other. And to tell you how long ago that was, these 3 films are the first ones. They're literally the first 3 James Bond movies. They came out respectively in 1962, 1963, and 1964, which means we haven't had a solid 3-film streak in almost 60 years. And since then, the Bond franchise has been extremely hit or miss, and if you ask me, it's had more misses than hits. And we don't need to look too far for that. If we just look at the last 2 Bond eras, because the writing is kind of on the wall here. In the last 28 years, there has been a grand total of 9 Bond movies, 4 with Pierce Brosnan in the role and 5 with Daniel Craig. Out of those 9 movies that came out between 1995 and 2021,
I didn't know he did 5 of them. I can only remember like 3. No, 2. Wait, 1. I don't even remember for real. I remember the train shit.
only 3
Skyfall. Skyfall is the one I really remember. Skyfall and
of them are good. GoldenEye, Casino Royale,
that's what it is.
And Skyfall. The 6 other movies range from kinda mid, half-assed, and forgettable to flat-out terrible. I still think Casino Royale is the best James Bond movie ever made. I know some people will pick Skyfall, but even then, Casino Royale came out 17 years ago, and Skyfall came out in 2012. Casino Royale came out 17 years ago. And Skyfall came out in 2012, 11 years ago. I can't remember the last time a James Bond movie came out and genuinely got people hyped. It's not that the movies aren't successful. They are, they make money every time, but like, they just kind of come and go. Most of them are forgotten and never talked about again.
It's kind of like the Hitman movies. Y'all remember those?
Anybody remembers Quantum of Solace, Spectre? Even No Time to Die is already fading away and it came out a year and a half ago. It just feels like the saga isn't serving the way it used to. All the thrills of high-octane action with secret agents betraying each other, etc. It's just not the best at it anymore. If anything, I feel like the John Wick franchise took that spot. John Wick now has the hype James Bond used to have decades ago. That is the fun secret agent action movie series that gets people really excited because it does shit we've never really seen before.
Oh god, it's their scene.
James Bond now is just kind of there, but it feels tired. You can tell it's lost its thing a little bit. It just doesn't have the same impact on pop culture, which is like fine because this series is so old now. It makes sense that it doesn't have the same pull, but I'm just saying. No Time to Die was Daniel Craig's final outing as Bond, and apparently the studio is actively looking for the next actor to take on the role, but
it's gonna be fucking Tom Holland.
Honestly, if they just decided to stop it there and end the series with No Time to Die, I'd be totally fine with that. And I think people would get over it really fast. But yeah, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. They're never gonna let James Bond die. I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to cast a younger Bond and made the next era a bit more like John Wick to try and revitalize and modernize the franchise, which I would be really surprised to see how that...
That's when it's like, at that point, you just make a new movie. You just find a new thing to do instead of trying to take an old franchise just because you know the name will bring people to the theater. It's kind of cheap.
I've seen some people online say they'd like to see a crossover where James Bond and John Wick go head to head, and so I asked you guys on Instagram who would win a fight between the two, which by the way, follow me on Instagram. 4,000 people voted, and between the two, which by the way, follow me on
You're a nigga? You're a black man? I don't know why I thought you was... What?
Instagram. 4,000 people voted, and John Wick won the vote with a staggering 72%. Sorry, James. It looks like you're not coming out of this one alive. Either way, James Bond is not going anywhere anytime soon. He was around before my parents were even born, and I think he will be here long after I'm gone. Anyways, let's move on. Number 5.
You think John Wick is gonna be like a household type of thing? Household? I feel like John Wick is gonna be a thing where it eventually gets a reboot. Like a few years down the line. It could become like that type of thing where it's so missed that it gets a reboot and they fuck it up somehow.
Fast and Furious. This one is a bit of a doozy for me. I think I've mentioned it before in a video or two, but the Fast and Furious franchise has been a guilty pleasure of mine for years now, just like it has been for like millions of people. These movies are so dumb. They're stupid beyond anything you can imagine, but God, they're just so much fun. Because yeah, make no mistake, these movies know what they are, they know what they're here for, and they embrace the silliness to the fullest extent of their capabilities. It's so funny. They're not all bangers though, but when they are, the Fast and Furious movies are a good time. Okay, quick rundown for everyone who's gonna ask. 1 is whatever, 2 is so stupid that I find it hilarious.
I'm not gonna lie, 2 is my favorite.
I don't remember a single thing about 3. 4 is a mess. 5, 6, 7, and 8 are a fucking blast that will destroy your brain cells one by one, but I love them for it. They're incredibly entertaining. 9 is genuinely one of the worst movies I've seen in the last decade. You can skip it. I hate this movie with a passion. And the Hobbs and Shaw spin-off is just really forgettable, but I'll give it a point because Idris Elba referring to himself as Black Superman is fucking iconic. I know a lot of people adore these movies. Like, it's a real popcorn blockbuster series that only demands of you to leave your brain at the door when you go watch it, and as I just said, I like it too. Fast and Furious is fun, and I will die on that hill, but even as somebody who finds some enjoyment in that kind of brain rot, I gotta admit, this has been going on for too long. Universal is ready to do anything to keep this thing going. Even though I'd like to quickly remind you that this franchise started 22 years ago. And I feel like that's not gonna keep working out for them. They just refuse to let it end, and it's gonna turn against them. I think it's kind of already started. And I know what you're gonna say. But Dylan, they said Fast 10 was gonna be the last one. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Around the time Fast 8 was starting to roll around, it was indeed confirmed that Fast 10 would be the final movie in the franchise. It was the end of the line, and people accepted that. I mean, sure, okay, it's gotta end somewhere. 10 movies sounds perfectly fine, you had a great run. Then, around the time Fast 9 was released in theaters, news started to come out that Fast 10 would be split into 2 parts, meaning we weren't getting one more movie, but 2. Okay, it sounds like you're trying to stretch it because you don't really want to end it, but I let it slide. I'm in a good mood today. I'll pretend I didn't see it. But then, just recently, Vin Diesel apparently hinted at the fact that Fast X might actually be the first movie of a 3-part story. They added another one. That means that the quote-unquote final movie in the franchise is actually just a new trilogy. Are you fucking kidding me? Just end it. There's no such thing as a 3-part movie. You're fucking lying. This is just Fast 10, 11, and 12. You guys just don't want to look like assholes for walking back your announcement about Fast 10 being the final movie. Especially because let's not forget that right before the...
Yo, if they actually do a 3-part ending and it's successful, it makes a lot of money, so many other people are going to start doing that shit, because it's always been the last movie of the series, 2-parter. Now it's going to be the thing where it's 3.
Pandemic.
It's going to be the new meta, bro.
It was confirmed that another spin-off was in the works, this time to focus on the female characters of the franchise. And while it looks like Hobbs and Shaw 2 is very unlikely to happen, the fact that Kevin Hart and Ryan Reynolds were introduced in that movie makes it that I wouldn't really be surprised if they got their own spin-off somewhere down the line.
Please don't.
And you know what? That's not even all of it. Oh no, it is not. Did you guys know that there is a Netflix original animated spin-off of Fast and Furious called Fast and Furious Spy Racers? Oh no, I'm not kidding. This is real. It is a TV show about Tony Toretto, Dominic Toretto's little cousin, who is played by Tyler Posey. Yes, Scott McCall from Teen Wolf.
I was born to win. I'm a Toretto.
They even got Vin Diesel to voice Dom in a bunch of episodes.
Being a Toretto's got nothing to do with what you do in that car. Being a Toretto, it's about family.
And the rollout of this thing is just insane. They fucking churned the fuck out of this project. In 2 years, they released 6 seasons of this show, and it ended its run in 2021. Let me repeat that for you. 6 seasons in 2 years. Universal is as greedy as ever with the Fast and Furious franchise. They're so desperate. They don't want this thing to end, but stop it. If Fast 9 was any indication of where things are headed, you better quit now.
You gotta find a new cash cow, bro.
Like you.
You gotta find a new cash cow.
I've been seeing reviews of Fast X, and it's not looking good for you. So please, don't be stupid. End it. Ugh. Okay.
Jesus.
Next, number 4.
6 seasons.
The Disney live-action remakes.
I've been told y'all about this. I'm so over these remakes.
Okay, I know this is a weird one, and I'm cheating a little bit, but I guess we could consider this series of movies a franchise, right? Right? No, just me? Okay, whatever. Let's just consider it is for this video. I don't think I've ever talked about this before, but the Disney live-action remakes are a personal pet peeve of mine that just refuses to go away. I feel like we all hate them, and yet they just keep happening, because despite the fact that everybody hates them, these movies somehow keep making a fuckload of money at the box office.
It's because they're messing with shit that we watched when we were younger, so of course it's gonna be like, I mean, let's just see. Maybe it's like, you know, this one can't be that bad. They literally have the blueprint right there. How can they fuck it up? But they do. They somehow do it. And I'm not gonna lie. Lion King was like so loved, I feel like, but I didn't. I felt like this was ass. I feel like it was so bad.
So Disney,
like, it was just pointless.
He just keeps making them. The live-action remake series, I would say, started with the Cinderella remake that came out in 2015. This movie's fine. I remember liking it, and honestly, I'll watch Lily James in anything. Except for Pam and Tommy, fuck this show. It was a fun little venture. Everybody thought it was a one-time thing. Nobody batted an eye. A year later, though, in 2016, we got the Jungle Book remake. And I'm not even gonna lie, this movie fucking slaps. I liked it a lot. It was visually very impressive. Idris Elba as Shere Khan was the shit, and overall, it was just a good time. And
this was fire, but this was at the time when it wasn't just oversaturated. So I feel like it was different, because I feel like the more shit gets oversaturated, that's when it's just like, by default, you're just like, ugh. But this one, nah, I remember seen this one in theaters too, and that ending fight, holy shit, bro,
made Disney a shitload of money. Another year later, in 2017, we got the live-action Beauty and the Beast.
Saw this one too, but it's because, you know, I'm a Harry Potter fan. Emma Watson was in Harry Potter, so, you know, I'm a dick writer.
Starring Emma Watson.
I liked it because I'm a dick writer.
A movie that I never finished. I watched it at home and I don't know what happened. I tuned out right before the ball scene and never went back to it. I thought it was whatever, but that said though, the movie was incredibly successful. It's probably the one that had the most hype. It also made a shitload of money, and this is when Disney kind of started to lose its shit.
I agree.
Jungle Book made almost $1 billion.
Jungle Book was good. I enjoyed that.
The box office, Beauty and the Beast made over $1 billion at the box office.
And then when I watched this, I was like, okay, that was cool. I think they're good. Like, just stop here.
So they started to have dollar signs in their eyes, and they got greedy. How greedy, you ask? Well, in 2019, Disney released not one,
bad,
not two,
trash,
not three,
ass,
but 4 live.
I didn't even know Lady in the Tramp. I didn't even know Lady in the Tramp was a thing. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Aladdin was cool. I thought Will Smith didn't do that bad of a job. But obviously, if you're comparing it to the original, any of these compared to the original is just trash. It doesn't compare. But I thought Aladdin wasn't that bad. I liked it, and I thought Will Smith did a good job.
Live-action remakes. In 9 months, we got remakes. 3, but 4 live-action remakes in 9 months. We got the live-action Dumbo by Tim Burton, which sucked ass. 2 months later, we got Guy Ritchie's Aladdin, which sucked ass. Less than 2 months after that, we got the Lion King remake, which sucked ass, although was visually gorgeous, I'll give it that. And then, in November, we got the Lady and the Tramp remake for the launch of Disney+.
This shit didn't even go to theaters.
And I've actually never seen that one, but I hear it's not glorious.
It's worse. It's so much worse.
That is just an insane rollout, and the worst part is, it worked. Yes, Dumbo notoriously flopped really hard at the box office, but despite the fact that everybody hated Aladdin, it still made $1 billion at the box office, and The Lion King made an outstanding 1.6.
I'm not surprised. It's literally The Lion King, bro. That's literally, they alted. They alted. That's just an alt move. Aladdin and The Lion King, that's 2 alts in 9 months. That's ridiculous.
$6 billion at the box office, and it is currently the 7th highest grossing movie of all time. It cannot be understated just how much money these movies make Disney. They were slowed down by the pandemic, obviously, but they weren't gonna stop. No, after all of that, they just decided to remake everything, literally everything. In 2020, we got the Mulan.
Oh, I heard this was so bad. I didn't even watch this.
Remake, which in my opinion is the worst out of all of them. Then we got the dreadful Tom Hanks Pinocchio remake.
I didn't see this either. I love Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks. Didn't see this.
Which was one of the worst movies I saw last year. And just a few weeks ago, we got Peter Pan and Wendy, which is just so painful.
Oh yeah, we saw the trailer for this. And there's like a 7 Dwarfs thing. There was like a picture that came out of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. And apparently the dwarves is like, them niggas is not dwarves, bro. I don't know who the fuck they are.
Fully bland. I tapped out 45 minutes in and I don't think I'm ever gonna finish it. Oh, and you thought I was done? I know. You thought you were safe because I caught up. I'm in 2023. Yeah, okay, there's no more. Oh, well, you're wrong. You thought Disney was stopping there despite the fact that none of these remakes have been universally liked since 2016? Well, think again, because The Little Mermaid is coming.
Not gonna lie. As far as musical numbers goes, I fucked with Little Mermaid, man. I thought Little Mermaid was cool, bro. I thought it was cool. Even the little goose thingy or whatever the fuck it is that people didn't like, I fucked with it better. I fucked with it. And they were like, brown. She was like, brown. And it was like, brown, brown. I was fucking with the rap, bro. I was fucking with all of it, man. Towards the end, I was like, damn, this shit kind of still going too long. But I fucked with the music, bro.
Out like now, we're getting a live action.
Oh my god, this is the shit I was talking about. I didn't even know there was like anything out.
In Snow White in 2024, there's a sequel to The Lion King on.
Okay, see? Huh? This is like the shit that I'm fucking talking about. Why the fuck? 1.6 billion. They just see the money. 1.6 billion. 1.6 billion. They just see the money.
On the way, Lilo and Stitch are getting a live action remake.
See, now I'm about to kill my oh my god.
For some reason, Hercules is happening.
No. They're alting again.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame is in the works. Bambi, the Aristocrat.
No, not Bambi. They're alt. That's another alt. That's 3 alts. Lilo and Stitch, Hercules, and Bambi, they're alting.
Aristocats, and the most egregious of them all, we are getting a live action.
I speak for all of chat when I say we will be seated for the live action Hercules. Am I right, chat? Am I right?
I can't wait to see how they mess this up. There's no way they can mess up Bambi. That's got to be like, if anything, Bambi should be the one, like one of the films that's like, actually the remake is really good. There's no way they can mess this up, bro. Moana, this is the one with The Rock. They got The Rock actually like doing it.
mention Moana, a remake of a movie that's not even 10 years old yet. It came out in 2016.
Moana! That's right.
What are we doing?
I love The Rock, but dog, I can't say nothing bad about The Rock, man. It's not him. Well, he took the deal, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I can't even be mad at them for doing it because these movies are ridiculously profitable. Like, I get it, but jeez. There's a part of me that's eternally sad that Disney's entire business model has become, why have original ideas when you can just not? They really are the world champions of creative recycling. I mean, at least they still have Pixar. Like, that's still original. Just in the last couple of years, they gave us Coco, Turning Red, and Soul, which is probably my favorite Pixar movie of all time. So, you know, at least I'm glad we still have that. They don't just aimlessly continue to churn out unnecessary sequels that never really have a psych. I fucking lied. Number 3, Toy Story. For the love of God. Continue to churn out unnecessary sequels that never really have a psych. I fucking lied. Number 3, Toy Story. For the love of God, can we stop already?
I agree. As much as I love Keanu Reeves as that fucking motorcycle dude, shit should have stopped at 3. At 3, it was the perfect ending. It should have stopped.
Live action Frozen gonna be the ultimate alt.
Bro, oh my God. Why did you just give them ideas? Why did you just give them that idea, bro?
Why are we doing?
That's for sure. That's for sure the next thing. That's the next move. Cause that movie was massive.
Doing this? Why do you keep going? I don't know if you guys are aware, but a couple weeks ago, it was confirmed that Toy Story 5 is currently in the works. And I only have one question. What in the Flashpoint paradox are you guys fucking doing? Why? Why would you do this? You guys made what I would genuinely consider to be one of the greatest trilogies in the history of cinema. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 are all great. 3 is an almost perfect movie. This whole trilogy is fucking lit. It's so good, and all you had to do for it to remain this legendary accomplishment in pop culture was let it be. You just had to let it be. Do not take the risk to ruin that. I understand it goes against your business model, but it's the one trilogy where I would say you have a fucking duty to show some artistic integrity and let it be this great piece of art that existed at one point in time without touching it. Why are you still going? You think I gave a shit about Forky, my guy? You think I care? Look at him. I don't care. I don't care about Forky. Look at him. What's it gonna be? Huh? Are we just gonna keep making them? Is that the plan? Are we just gonna be making Toy Story 6, 7, and 8? Huh? Are we doing Toy Story Tokyo Drift? Toy Story versus Superman Dawn of Justice? Stop it! Stop! It's done. You made it. You already achieved the greatness. Let it be. You're just gonna ruin it. Stop taking things that are precious to make it a cash cow you can keep milking until people can't stand it anymore. There are certain things that are sacred, my guy. You already fumbled the bag with the Buzz Lightyear movie not even a year ago. That should have been your hint. You're fucking Disney. You have so many things that make you so much money. Why can't you let go of that one cherished thing? I'm so done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't fucking care. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care. I don't want to do this anymore. Number 2, Alien. All right, this one is just kind of annoying. I feel like I just have to get through it. Look, Ridley Scott's Alien.
That segment was absolutely perfect. I don't know what they were thinking, and another one is in development, bro. After that Lightyear movie?
Is to this day one of the greatest horror sci-fi movies ever made. James Cameron's Aliens, the 1986 sequel, is one of the greatest action sci-fi movies ever made. These are just facts. Nobody's gonna argue with that. These two movies fucking slap. Both gave us something strong, special, unique, with one of the most iconic heroes in cinema history.
No, this guy's videos is fire, bro.
History, Ellen Ripley, and villains that are quite impossible to forget. It was fantastic, and then it just kept going. After the disappointing Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection crashed and burned in the 90s, the 2000s saw studios shamelessly attempting to turn the Alien series into an undeserving blockbuster franchise with a terrible crossover event that,
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what's going on with the Alien movies anymore.
Was Alien vs. Predator in 2004, which was followed by Alien vs. Predator Requiem in 2007. These films
Yo, so this is my question because I'm so confused. Is Predator, was that like a separate franchise, or was that literally from Alien? Okay.
Completely drained the franchise of its soul, losing the audience's interest entirely.
That shit always confused me.
And completely panicked, 20th Century Fox quickly decided to shift gears and things became very messy. They got so desperate for this franchise to work that they ended up causing a creative nightmare behind the scenes for a very long time. In 2012, original director Ridley Scott came back to the franchise after 33 years to direct a prequel to his first film titled Prometheus.
Yeah, I remember this, and I was just confused.
It was a wildly different take on the franchise that gave a new breath to the Alien universe, which should have been exciting, but the movie quickly proved to be extremely divisive amongst fans, often criticized for being boring and pretentious with its themes, but also praised for its direction and more philosophical approach to the universe. Even to this day, half of the fans think Prometheus is a masterpiece, and half think it's a boring and bloated mess with no real merit aside from glorious visuals. Overall, the movie did okay. It made money at the box office, but still underperformed when it came to the studio's expectations. A sequel to the movie then became unsure, and Prometheus quickly fell into oblivion. 4 years later, though, in 2015, Neil Blomkamp, director of the critically acclaimed District 9 and Chappie, but we don't talk about Chappie, was brought in.
Chappie was aight. Ain't that the movie where they threw the chain on him?
To write and direct a new Alien film that would be taking place right after the events.
I thought Chappie was cool, but then again, like anything with robots, or dinosaurs, I'm liking.
Of Alien.
For aliens, I'm just locked in.
2 and disregard all of its sequels. It was meant to be a soft reboot of the franchise, and people were actually kind of excited for it. It was even confirmed that Sigourney Weaver would be coming back as Ellen Ripley to give her character a proper ending. It was all incredibly promising and quite exciting, and then the movie never came out. Neil Blomkamp's Alien was abandoned by the studio in its pre-production stage in a move that left everyone so fucking confused, until we found out almost immediately after that the project was axed because Ridley Scott wanted to make his Prometheus sequel instead. He pulled a Lannister. He literally hijacked Blomkamp's movie to make something entirely different. I mean, after all, Ridley Scott is iconic, he's very powerful.
Oh, he was in the X-Men.
In Hollywood, so the studio caved, greenlit the movie, and Blomkamp was booted. And so, in 2017, Ridley Scott released Alien Covenant, the official direct sequel to Prometheus, which was a disjointed disappointment of a movie that left both critics and audiences cold and bored. Seriously, this movie had so much hype only to be met with a resounding meh from the entire world. I know it has its fans now, but when it came out, it really went away fast. Nobody really cared.
I remember trailers for this. I still didn't go see this though.
Cared about it. Not only was the movie incredibly underwhelming, it also severely underperformed at the box office, and suddenly the studio got incredibly hesitant at the idea of giving it a sequel. And this is where things got fucking unhinged. For the next 6 years, 20th Century Fox and Disney have been on a never-ending ping-pong match of announcing and canceling an Alien Covenant sequel. In 2017, Fox said they would move forward with the Covenant sequel. It was in active development, Ridley Scott was teasing the story and building hype, but then, just a few days later, the project was canceled. A month after that, though, it was back on the table, and Ridley Scott was even even giving very specific details about the plot of the movie. This thing was taking shape. It was actively being worked on. But then, no news came for an entire year, which is not a good sign usually. And it was reported that the project might have been quietly cancelled, but just a month after that report, there were more details about the story coming out, meaning the project had maybe not been cancelled. Then, at CinemaCon 2019, another year later, Disney announced that the new Alien project was not a movie, but a TV show that seemingly had nothing to do with Covenant. They made a massive announcement about how that was the future of the franchise, but just a month after that announcement, Variety reported that the movie directed by Ridley Scott was gonna happen anyway, like aside from the show. But it was unclear if that movie was going to be a Covenant sequel. And then, a year later, in September of 2020, Ridley Scott himself confirmed that his movie was still in development, but in 2021, another year later, reports started coming out saying that Ridley Scott's movie was up in the air and nobody actually knew if it was gonna happen for real. This thing was a shit show and it went on for so long. And finally, it's in March of 2023, just a couple months ago, that 20th Century Studios confirmed after 6 long years that Ridley Scott's new Alien movie had started shooting. Oh, and they also announced that there is another Alien movie called Alien Romulus that is completely disconnected from the rest of the franchise. That's also in production and will be released on Hulu. Oh my god. In case you haven't noticed, the timeline of this fucking mess leads us to this year, 2023, which means studios have been trying to figure this franchise out for 31 years now, and they still haven't done that. This thing has been a mess since 1992 when Alien 3 flopped, and studios have been in panic mode ever since. This franchise now has 8 movies with 2 more on the way, and the last genuinely great one was the second one, which came out in 1986. 37 years ago. I'm sorry, that is way too long to try and convince people this franchise is good. So, for the love of God, let it die. And now, let's move on to number 1. Terminator. Oh god, where do we even start with this one? It's almost crazy to think that the last good Terminator movie came out 32 years ago. Especially when we know there have been 4 movies released since then. After director James Cameron brought us The Terminator in 1984 and Terminator 2 Judgment Day in 1991, which is still considered to be one of the greatest action films of all time, studios decided to carry on with the franchise without its creator. And to this day, none have been able to accomplish that successfully. Following the underwhelming T3 Rise of the Machines in 2003, studio execs opted to take a different approach, and the franchise was rebooted by director McG in 2009 with the universally despised Terminator Salvation, which drifted away from its original cast and took a heavy science fiction spin with the storyline, with the movie taking place in a post-apocalyptic future. Salvation was one of the most expensive movies ever made at the time, but it completely failed to interest audiences. It flopped at the box office, and the planned sequels were cancelled a few months after the film's release. But Skydance and Paramount Pictures refused to back down, and in 2015, they rebooted the franchise once again with Terminator Why do they spell it like that? Terminator Genesis, the first installment of an announced trilogy, which famously marked the return of Arnold Schwarzenegger as the iconic T-800 after a 12-year hiatus. Unfortunately, it quickly proved to be another miss because the bland and repetitive movie was plagued with negative reviews and brutally failed to meet expectations at the box office. Saying fans were utterly disappointed with Genesis is like a crazy understatement, mainly due to the film's ultimate plot twist being unceremoniously spoiled in the trailer, like months ahead of the release. And obviously, the planned trilogy for this new incarnation was quietly scrapped by the studio. And then, because the message wasn't clear enough, Paramount teamed up with 20th Century Fox to attempt yet another reboot of the series just 4 years later. Oh my god. Terminator.
I seen this one in theaters.
Dark Fate came out in 2019, erasing the 4 previous films from the franchise's timeline and claiming to be the one true sequel to 1991's Judgment Day. But despite building some mild hype with a decent first trailer, which teased the return of Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, Dark Fate crashed and burned at the box office in the most spectacular way. It's reported that it lost the studio around $130 million.
Me low-key, I like this just because like it kind of had like the old characters in it, and seeing them go back and forth was like, it was like, you know, cool. But yeah, I also wasn't like nothing amazing.
Just wow. It became one of the most disliked entries in the series, making audiences realize that the Terminator franchise has been trying to tell the exact same story over and over again for the past 30 years, all in a desperate attempt to recapture the magic of the second movie. But this thing is so dead. Even Mackenzie Davis, who played one of the main characters in Dark Fate, seems doubtful that the planned sequels will ever be made. She said in an interview with Enemy that at this point, quote, thinking there would be a demand for a 7th film is quite insane. And you know what? I agree. I think somewhere along the way, they forgot that the first Terminator movie was not a massive, apocalyptic, world-ending sci-fi mega block.
Literally, the movie that he was just talking about, when I've seen that first trailer, that made me go back and watch like the first one. And holy shit, yo, that nigga, it was not like how these other films are.
Buster filled with CGI all over your face. It was just a very small scale and intimate horror slasher. It's just that instead of a Michael Myers,
this nigga was on Demon Timing, bro.
The slasher was an unstoppable killing robot from the future. They added some interesting lore to it, which made it different enough to stand out, and it worked. Maybe that's what they should have gone back to reboot the thing, but instead, Hollywood did a very Hollywood thing, and they believe that bigger always equals better. So every time they reboot Terminator, they just try to make it even bigger scale than the last one because they're convinced it needs to be this insane spectacle of sci-fi with fucking spaceships and explosions, and people just don't give a shit. I think most people are now agreeing that Terminator should have never been a blockbuster franchise in the first place. It should have only been those 2 movies. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger admitted like a week ago that the sequels were not well written, including the ones he was in. Like, it's done. The thing is dead. The moment has passed. Nobody cares anymore. And yet, James Cameron recently confirmed that a complete reboot of the Terminator franchise is currently being discussed. Fuck